Comic books provided by Drawn to Comics, Glendale, Arizona's premier comic book emporium.
Hello everyone, and welcome again to our comics review. I just got back from the comic book shop. I've just read the new comics that are out. We're still going through all the 52s from DC Comics, and so I'm going to actually review them in the order that I read them. So this will be kind of interesting. So the first one I read was Swamp Thing. This one I go back way back with Swamp Thing, back to the 70s Swamp Thing, and especially during the Alan Moore and Rich Veitch period. So I like suspenseful Swamp Thing. I like it. There's a reason, reading this book, there's a reason why Swamp Thing is a supernatural book and not a superhero book. I'll spoil it and say Superman appears in the story and appears kind of in half of the story. It was bad. Not bad like, oh, this sucks, terrible, let's just get this is all over with. It was more of a, why is Superman here, other than to explain the plot of what happened to things that we haven't seen. And what I mean is, Alex Holland is back, and he's human, but he was also Swamp Thing. And Superman essentially explained to him, yeah, you died, and then you came back, and now you're human again, so you should work on that formula that you were working on before. To which Alex Holland's kind of saying, hang on, Supes, I died. I came back. I was a green monster thing. I kind of need to decelerate from that, because from the way it sounds like in the storyline, it might have been maybe 2 months, maybe even less, since he's now Alex Holland again. So we're talking about, dude, Superman, why not chill a bit? The man has been dead for a while and was in a plant, and now he's back in his own body. You don't kind of push him and say, hey, do this formula because it's good for mankind. He's kind of going, hey, dude, can I chill a bit? Now, the supernatural part of the book, I was hooked on, and I really don't want to give any way about it. It's not that it's any sort of super suspenseful thing or anything like that, but in reading that part, I was hooked and wanted to know more. So it's very split. This is like one of those books that's very split. The supernatural stuff, gotta recommend. It was really good. The Superman stuff, no. Because Superman was basically there to explain what happened to Alex Holland. And that was like, not good. Didn't like it. The next one, Stormwatch. Ooh, I hated Stormwatch. Hated it. You know how I just said about how Superman basically was there to explain what happened for us? Okay, think of Stormwatch as having 5 or 6 characters, and each character, when they're introduced, explains to you what their power is. It's like being at a cocktail party and coming up to someone coming up to you and saying, hey, my name is Stormseeker, and I control the weather, and my eyes go white when I do that. I know I said Stormseeker, I meant Storm, don't worry about it. But the characters kept doing this. And what was happening was they were trying to find Apollo. Now, for those of you who don't know Stormwatch, Apollo was that universe's Superman. So Stormwatch was looking for him and trying to convince him that he should join their group. And it was very classic, very bad superhero get-together. We're kind of going to fight you for a bit, and then just as we're about to have you defeated, we're going to say, you know what? We really think you should join us, and that's the reason why we fought you. And then, at the very end, Midnighter shows up and beats the Martian Manhunter, which I thought was a little odd, but okay. And there's a thing, for those of you that don't know Stormwatch, Midnighter and Apollo, not going to really get into what that is. Those of you that know. And that has not been addressed yet in it, because I guess they just met. So that's going to be, supposedly, their relationship will still be, oh gosh, I almost gave it away. Their relationship is still going to be supposedly in the story. Right now, that is not there yet. But I just didn't like the way it was presented. It just seemed like, here's a hero, blah, blah, blah. Here's a hero, blah, blah, blah. So I didn't like it. Static Shock. Static Shock reminded me of actually early Spider-Man. He's wisecracking. He's smart enough to be smart. He's actually talking about the chemical processes that are going on as he's fighting the villain. Now he's thinking that he's in his head, but when he's out, when he's actually talking, he's doing lots of banter when he's the hero, and it was quite fun. There were some other villains in the piece. While I'm saying villains, we're still not sure whether heroes or villains. I'm going to say they're villains, just because of what happens at the very end, which again I don't want to give away because it may not be what it seems to be. What I do like about Static Shock, they brought in Hardware. Hardware is like his mentor, like got him a job and everything else. I kind of like the way Hardware is in the story. And for those of you who don't know, Hardware is like an old Milestone character. Think of Hardware, I think I'm getting this right, it's been a while, but Hardware is kind of like their Tony Stark. So it was nice to see that character there. It was nice to see Static Shock actually. It was fun. It was a fun book, and that's the best I can say about it. It was a fun book. So that's why I liked it, because it just brought the fun into reading the book. So Static Shock, that was that. And now, Green Arrow. Okay. I like the lefty Green Arrow. Okay? I like the old Neil Adams Green Lantern, Green Arrow books. I like them. I also like the Mike Grell Green Arrow. He doesn't necessarily need the trick arrows to do what he needs to do. Well, the problem is that I see with this book is threefold. First of all, he's got the trick arrows. That's like the least of my concerns. Trick arrows, okay. Second, they're trying to make him almost a lefty radical, except he doesn't have the age to be a lefty radical. So he's kind of, as I'm reading it, he's kind of sort of fighting against the system by being part of the system. And that just got old really fast, because you see him and he's trying to, be this, I want to, teach the world to sing in perfect harmony, but I don't really know how to do that because I haven't gone through the turmoil that was the 60s. I don't have that. I'm not urban. I mean, he's not the urban Green Arrow. This is sort of, international. He's in France. He's in this place. He's in that place. So he's kind of not there. And the third part, it has to do with that urban, gritty Green Arrow. He's fighting supervillains. Fighting supervillains in the tradition of let's do a quick issue type thing. So it's not even really good villains. They're just villains. Superpowered. He beats them because he has the trick arrows. Wow. So I didn't like that one. I don't like Green Arrow. I like Green Arrow. I don't like this Green Arrow. Now we're getting to the good stuff. Batman Detective Comics. Oh my goodness. This was good. And I had heard that with this Detective Comics they were going to have the detective aspect of Batman. Yes, they do. This is Batman going into the depths of Gotham City. That is a very gory, very dark Gotham City. The Joker is there. The Joker is not the clown prince of crime. This is the murdering Joker. Joker murders someone in this, and apparently has murdered a lot of people continually. There is not really a twist at the end of this. I keep calling these twists, and they're not really twists. They're basically to get you to read the next issue. But this ending that they do with Joker, gross. But gross in a good way. Because the setup that we had of Gotham City makes it like this is a grim thing. Kind of in terms of, if Green Arrow had more of the grit that was in Detective Comics, it would have been a better book. So, Detective Comics, yes, definitely. Action Comics. Action Comics is Superman, not yet really Superman. At first, as I'm reading it, I said, oh, they could have called this Superboy, until I thought, oh, there's going to be a Superboy. That's right. This is sort of like Superman, really young adult. But this is, and it's Grant Morrison writing, and he actually takes it back to the old Superman of the 40s, surprisingly enough, because we have the Superman that really is faster than a locomotive. Really faster than a locomotive. Not fast like the Flash, but fast as a locomotive. He can leap tall buildings. In fact, that's a question in there. They said, oh, can you make it to this particular, Metropolis Towers? And he says, oh, I'm not sure from here if I can do that, blah, 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 blah. But it was good, and I think the thing that kept me in on this was Grant Morrison. I think in the hands of anyone else, this really wouldn't have worked as a story, because this is still not fully Superman. This is kind of the, I'm stronger than a lot of people, but I'm not invincible. He struggles. He actually gets cut. He gets beat up. And you can actually see with this, you see him as Clark Kent, and you can see how he's actually a good reporter in this. There's some things in here that shows he's a good reporter. Lois Lane and Jimmy Olsen actually are a part of the story, but they're not working together. They actually work for rival newspapers, which I thought was also a kind of interesting twist to it. But it was a good, solid read. I really liked it. So Action Comics, yes. And I swear this was not done in any sort of order like this. The most interesting book, the book that I would say, get this book, in my opinion, Animal Man. I had trepidations when I learned a lot of the Vertigo comics were going to go to proper DC Universe, because Vertigo comics were always different. There were otherworldly type things. Animal Man was probably the one that was the most superhero-ish of the Vertigo titles, but was still weird. And it retains that. It reads like a Vertigo book. First of all, none of the other superheroes show up. They're kind of mentioned, but none of them show up. The art style is unique. I actually love the art style because it's not superhero comic art style. Because the story isn't superhero story, which goes in turn with Vertigo. And when you actually start getting kind of a weird supernatural bent to it, it was quite disturbing in a good way, in a Vertigo way. So out of this week, yeah, Animal Man is the book to get. In my opinion. It's kind of, if you wanted to show someone and say, hey, this is what comic books are like, I would definitely say Animal Man would do it. Strangely enough, Action Comics, yes, and also Detective Comics. Those would be the three I would say out of this week were really good reads, but by far, head and shoulders, Animal Man. So that's this week, and next week we will have more comics to review.